Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is the Enter the Lab podcast, and today we are getting in the first half of the NFL season. We talk about our top three offensive rookies and defensive rookies. We talk about some of the things happening in the NFL for the Falcons. Is it Bijan Robinson or is it Arthur Smith? We get a look inside from our Falcon family, and we also go to the Week 10 slate of NFL games. So buckle up, get your lab coat on. It's time to enter the lab.
Before we get started, we just want to know who our special guest is. And I'm not talking about the guy with the mini fro. I'm talking about the beautiful one sitting on the lap. Who is she?
Yeah, so what's going on, guys? I appreciate you guys bringing me here. My name is Xavier Trish. You can follow me on all social media, Xavier_Trish. And I am always joined by my lovely 11th-month-old daughter, Ziomara. You can listen to her in all of our spaces on Twitter. Trust me. She'll make appearance. She'll tell me if I'm right or wrong by what she says, and she is not quiet whatsoever. So yeah.
Welcome to the show. Beautiful. We're so glad to have you. You are going to make this show so much better than what it is already.
My fault. What happened? I'll eat his Popeye.
This man says eating some Popeyes. Commercial.
Hey, this clip.
Wipe your hands. And then.
Commercial.
We over here about to die thirst over here.
Thing on the menu today, bro, and that's work. That's work for 60 minutes, bro. That's the only job we got to do today, bro. What you playing for? What y'all?
Get real lonely with the mic on, bro. Just want to talk to my friends.
Welcome to another episode of the Enter the Lab podcast. It is your boy DT. We are back today. It is heading on to the Week 10 slate. We got Lady E. We got a special guest with us. We got my boy X from the Twitter round. We also got little adorable right there. How you doing? I was going to get away from kids, but at least I can appreciate this one up here. I can deal with a baby and some toddlers, man.
So you get a wave. I'm just preoccupied. So I'm all over this toy right now. Don't worry about me.
So this is it's kind of a crazy week, y'all. So didn't even think about it. Dude sent me the text, then said first half of the season. That junk tripped me up a little bit. I was like, oh man, the season really about to be over in the next couple of weeks. Like, man, like we get so excited for the season. The next thing you know, reality starts to hit for a couple of games and stuff. Then you're like, man, we gotta look at the draft boards and the free agency, who the quarterback and all the other stuff. But let's go around the table real quick. What do y'all think about Week 10 overall for your team or any team or just the season overall? Let's start with Lady E. How do you think about this season so far?
Can we start it over? Like like redo. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. This wasn't what I expected from my team a little bit. I had a little bit of more higher expectations for what, as far as play calling goes, as far as the uses of Bijan and, Cal and Jonnu and Drake and everybody that we acquired. I mean, my defense is doing what my defense needs to do, even though they sometimes look lackluster. We did lose somebody for the season, a very pivotal person, the pretty much heart and soul of our defense, to an ACL injury. Shout out to Grady Jerry. I hope he is making a speedy recovery. But yeah, I want to redo, because I would have never thought Grady would be the one to go down this season. Like, redo. Like, I want to redo.
Oh my God. What do you think, X? This is your first time up here. So knowing you're a Falcons fan as well, it's definitely something that surprised you, but also around the NFL scope. Like, what are your initial thoughts the first half of this season?
Yeah, I mean, number one thing is I don't think right now I know who the best team in the NFL is. Like, I just don't have a clue at this point. Obviously San Fran starts off in a barnstormer, beats the brakes off the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football, and then they lose 3 straight, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, they lose the last 2, and Brock Purdy looks like a shell of himself.
Yeah.
You've got, Baltimore over there is kicking the crap out of any NFC team, but I want to see what they look like against the AFC elite before I just start to jump to any conclusions on whether or not they're the best team in the NFL. So right now, I just have no clue, barring record, who the best team in the NFL is right now. And I don't know if we're going to find out after this week, but right now I can't say that there's just one team that's just like stupid dominant.
That's some good points, man. I would definitely back up with you. Like, the parity this year is probably bigger than what I ever seen when it comes to NFL season. Obviously, when you look at the scope, it starts with the quarterback position. A lot of quarterbacks have injuries. Starting to see some backups starting to come in crucial games down the stretch where teams trying to get at least the 7th or 6th seed and possibly lose it to other teams. Coaching has, let's be completely honest, like, we're in a stage where coaching, people are not living up to the task of coaching up their players what we expected them to be. There's a lot of players that have been very disgruntled the past couple of years. You're starting to see the power flip to the players like we see in the NBA. Some of these guys not coming to camp, and then it starts to affect them during the season. We've seen Devontae Adams. He's shown his frustrations a little bit in Las Vegas, though they didn't decide not to move on from him. Like, it's a lot of things going on from the bird's eye view, I would say, when it comes to this season and parity. And I love parity in the NFL because when you see the same teams win every single time, it gets kind of boring. The storyline doesn't make it juicy. It doesn't make pay-per-view events very entertaining. You need a Cinderella story when you're talking about the NFL. Right now, you see a lot of things going on with the teams. You see the 49ers started out hot. They're cooling off a little bit. Now they got Chase Young. That's going to be another conversation up in this show. Baltimore, they so far have looked complete. But like you said, X, I still need to see them when they have to play against Kansas City, when they have to play against the Bengals and the Browns. They play the Browns this weekend in a crucial game. So it's a lot of things to talk about for this season, and I see it in the sense of parity makes this game much more entertaining than meets the eye.
Yeah, I agree with that. I honestly agree with that. It's again, if C. Henry were here, now is really detrimental when it comes down to the games that are needing to be won, like the games that should have been won in the beginning of the season. Now these games are now becoming more pivotal when it comes down to now the playoffs. Who's, like, as C. Henry said, who are the contenders and who are the pretenders? Right now, we're about to really see who's been pretending this whole entire season.
And we gotta be, we're gonna have to be real. Past couple of shows, we've been doing the top 3 teams in the AFC and stuff. We can going back and forth. We said, Miami, we might go Bills. Well, way I see it now, I don't know.
This one, I just threw something together just from the last 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yo, I love it though. I love it. That's what makes the podcasting world much more interesting. So, with that being said, what also makes this interesting is the new guys, the new faces on the block. We've seen some surprising rookie play this year. Of course, obviously, when we talk about it, we start with the quarterback position, the rookies. We have seen some spurts of the games, but the main guy that takes the stage is definitely C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud for the Houston Texans had a marvelous game against the Buccaneers, came down and won. I just love it so far. I love what I've seen from Houston. I thought Houston was definitely going to be a team that was going to compete, but not compete in the way that they're literally probably second in their division and might have a chance to if teams in the AFC beat up on each other, they could sneak in. You never know. Like I said, parity is what makes things entertaining. And right now, CJ Stroud, he's definitely playing like a top 10 quarterback in the National Football League. But there's also some other rookies as well. The kid Puka from Los Angeles, he has surprised of me as well. He's eating up all the receptions for Cooper Kupp. Then Christian Gonzalez, first couple games before his injury. Like this season, these young guys just stepping in. I really love it so far. So, who are your top rookies you've seen so far this year, E?
Shout out to CJ Stroud. He's number one right now. Like he broke the rookie record with 470 yards, 5 touchdowns. I hate to say this, Panthers fans, but I think y'all should have went Stroud. But hey, I'm glad y'all didn't got the year either. I'm not.
That's why you so excited.
I am. I really am. Like, and then too, they gave up those picks. So like now the Chicago Bears beat them. It's like, dang, they beat y'all and they got y'all picks. It just, I love it. But no, shout out to CJ Stroud. Again, I don't think the NFL really looked at CJ Stroud. Yes, he's not a runner, but to me, he's still a mobile quarterback who can move the pocket. And if they didn't really watch that game between Georgia and Ohio State, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. That's where you saw that this man can literally hang on in whatever adversity that it is, that he can still bring his team. And even what he's working with the Texans, he still are winning games that they weren't even slated to win. Let's be honest. They weren't slated to win some of these games. So again, shout out to Mr. Stroud. He is doing his thing. I did want Bijan Robinson to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, but I think CJ might get this because he's having an amazing season. Also, this wasn't a good pick. A lot of people kind of question this pick, but I feel like Detroit nailed this one with Sam Laporta. He's doing real good in Detroit. Real good at Detroit for a tight end. So that is, I can't wait to see him in the sophomore year because I want to see how they incorporate him more. Because to be honest with you, right now with 43 receiving yards, 434 yards, and already 4 TDs on a year for a tight end, I want to see them incorporate him more because he's a threat. You have to game plan for Sam Laporta, and that's a rookie that we're talking about. And the last one, like y'all said, Puka with the Rams team and kind of what they're doing over there, I give him that. He's 64 receiving yards, 820 yards total, 2 TDs. I'm giving him that. He's coming up to be a threat, and the Rams need that, especially if they're moving on from Matt Stafford and moving on to another quarterback. They already have them a solid wide receiver. So that's my offense right now, and I'm still gonna give honorary to Bijan. I need Arthur Smith to do something with that man. But that's all I got to say.
We're talking about potential, right? But I'm kind of with you, E. Even, and I know we're going to talk about Bijan later, but even with Ben Johnson having all of those weapons, and we looked at one as them to kind of be one of these teams that can really take a huge jump. He's kind of underperformed. Like he's really kind of underperformed. He hasn't been hitting every week. And I know Gibbs has been hurt a little bit. But even with him, like the things that you thought they were going to use him in the different packages, you're just not seeing it, right? You're just not seeing it. So to me, Ben, and we ain't gonna say it next week, right? He probably watching, but to me, Ben Johnson has definitely underperformed as an OC. And not that it's bad, it's still really good. Like I was watching the games, it's like they getting 13 yards like every pop sometimes, but the offense is still really good. But just to be able to incorporate all those weapons, it can be a little overwhelming.
Yeah, no, I think y'all have brought up a lot of great rookies, first and foremost. I mean, Stroud has got to be one on the list. He's probably going to be Offensive Rookie of the Year unless he just falls off a cliff or one of the guys, we brought up just, goes bonkers in the second half of the year. But I don't want to be – I do want to name a couple of people that are a little bit different. I'm definitely going to name Devin A-Chain in there. It obviously slowed down due to injury, but I mean, he was on everybody's fantasy team over the last couple of weeks. I mean, the kid, you gave him the ball, he was super electric. Seemingly the fastest team in the NFL had just gotten faster with another one. another guy, especially on the offense side of the ball, that I think's been quietly good. Even though I don't believe, and his team's been great, but I think he himself has been quietly good. Is Zay Flowers? I think he's been consistently just a
That's
great
a good
outlet for Lamar.
Mhm.
Even if he's not having stupid games, he still hasn't broken 100 yards yet. But he's on pace for about 800 and some change, maybe 900 in his first year. He's on pace for a couple of TDs as well. And as a guy who I think was picked as the third receiver on the board behind Addison and behind Quentin Johnson, I believe, or right in front of Quentin Johnson, he's definitely been somebody that I've liked so far. And then lastly, I'm going to stay kind of at the receiving court. A guy who got taken in the third round, and that's Tank Dell. I mean, quiet start. But Stroud needs somebody to throw to. And outside of Nico Collins, Tank Dell has become a guy for him. Last week against the Buccaneers, 6 receptions, $114, 2 touchdowns. Had 145 against the Jaguars earlier this year as well. So he can explode. And he's on pace for about 900 yards in this year. And only, currently has 500 or only 28 catches. So this is a guy that, once again, I think these receivers, it shows again another year where a receiver later in the rounds, he was a 3rd round pick, I believe, explodes, and everybody's like, why did we miss him? And it's just, do your homework a little bit. Tank been doing this for a while down there in Houston. And I'm glad to see him, in the role that he is in Houston, being a kid that's from that area.
Yeah, most definitely. Another guy I'll mention too is Devin Witherspoon. That dude is a baller.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I wanted him so bad, but he shot me when he went top 5. I'm not gonna sit up here and lie to y'all like Gonzalez gonna be the one go top 5. But when I seen Witherspoon went 5, I said, "What?" Then in that second day, he is a hitter. You can move all over the place. He seeks the ball wherever the ball is. He goes and make a play, and that's the type of guy you want in your defense. And real quick, I want to touch on this because I went to school in North Carolina, Shaw University, and one of my best friends, who's also a podcaster, he's a diehard Panther fan, and had a little bit of a conversation this morning because I've been seeing some things about Bryce Young. Saw the QB school with JT O'Sullivan. He touched on some of the things that Carolina offense is doing, and when you see it, like, yo, that situation is really, really bad. And I do think there are some things that Bryce Young can do better, but there are definitely some issues within that offense. And to me, I think it's the offense that Frank Reich is running. I don't think it's the one Thomas Brown is running. I think Thomas Brown needs to bring his offense that he learned under McVay to help elevate Bryce Young. And they need to get him some wide receivers that can separate.
That's why I didn't understand that hire. Like, I didn't understand why you.
Well, it's not even the hire. It's the simple fact of the matter is, this is why I tell a lot of people too, where your owners,
yeah,
bro. Like,
we got 3rd coach now.
Yeah, like, but it's not even that. The owners went over there and pressured him to pick. He should have picked the guy that was meant for him and for his system. Not going for that. And then on top of that, you had Brian Burns that was literally on the top of the play, or DJ Moore. They said, nah, we're gonna keep Burns and we're gonna give you DJ.
That I did not understand at all.
Right.
Like, DJ Moore has been missing a quarterback. You draft one and you get rid of him.
Yep.
Or you get rid of him and then you draft one. Like, that I still don't understand that to this day.
They're playing tonight too.
And I mean, I was just about to say that. I hope we see something better, maybe against a team that's not as good in the Bears tonight. I mean, I got to watch some of that Indianapolis game last week. Those pick sixes were just
horrible,
inexcusable. But to your point, and to Eb's point, at the end of the day, I just felt like the organization made a decision based off of what the ownership and the player personnel wanted, right? Yeah. When Dave Gettleman came out, I think 2 weeks before the draft, and we were asking him about Bryce Young's height, and he was like, "Well, I had Russell Wilson in Seattle." I was just like, "Oh, well, there you go." Like, that's who he thought in some ways he was going to get out of Bryce, and I was just like, Bryce ain't Russ. In the way that he plays the game, Bryce is a quarterback that wants to be a quarterback first. And I was like, if you're thinking you're gonna get this game manager type dude who's going to make the right plays, be physical in the pocket, even though he's smaller, Russ is still a big dude.
He can't even run the quarterback sneak. They had to bring in Andy Dawson just to run the quarterback sneak. Like that. That's embarrassing.
Right. Like, you know, and it was already worrisome. You saw a dude who got hurt in the preseason because he was getting knocked around in practice. And I was just like, yo, this is what y'all are putting next to him. So just imagine when the people who hit him aren't on his team. Just like, I was just like, oh, this is going to be a bad situation, at least for one season.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, you give away your top pick. You don't even have a first round draft pick
for the next 2 years
because you wanted to get.
Wow. Yeah.
So, hey, it's that's little bruh, and they really showing why they little bruh because again, like seriously, we're like
making first or second round pick for the next 2 years, man.
Exactly. Like, so what are y'all really getting? Like y'all have to use your offense to go bring in veterans, but y'all tried to bring in a veteran with Alan Thielen. Alan Thielen looked better with Andy Dalton. Like I'm just at this point in time, it's a lot going on with that organization. I'm gonna sit over there.
I don't got them riled up, Deuce. I don't got them riled up. But hopefully they, and I do like Bryce. I do like Bryce, but I do feel like, you know, down the stretch, they kind of forced their hand to take Bryce Young over CJ Stroud, who I felt was the better prototypical fit in what Frank Reich wanted. And there's some things that Carolina has to fix some way of some form, somehow, because they can't block, can't separate, can't run the ball, can't do QB sneaks. So Carolina's definitely going to have to get some things straight come next year.
Like that, we really don't care, you know. we really don't care, you know. Just go ahead and unhand Brian Burns, you know, give us Burns, and we'll let y'all live. That's all we want. That's all we want. That's all we want.
We getting Burns.
No.
Shoot.
If y'all gonna get Burns after moving y'all, I'd be sick.
I'll throw the bread at Burns, yeah. I
don't think we're gonna pay nobody anyway. If anything, we'll draft, because the draft, I think it's top heavy with a couple guys for edge rusher, and then it just dries out.
Yeah.
So it may be a day 3 pick for sure.
Yeah, that is. Did we talk about defense? Our top 3 defense, or did I miss that? I'm trying to have my son cook.
I mentioned one defensive player. I said Devin Witherspoon.
Oh, okay. I thought look. Well, let me go ahead and get mine out here. Y'all already should know who my number 1 is. Okay, no, but for real, number 1.
Hope it ain't somebody that haven't showed up in 4 weeks. But go ahead.
Hey, leave Jalen.
I hope they got Amber Alert.
I'm just saying.
Hope they got Amber Alert for adults.
Leave Jalen Carter alone, okay? Because that's my number 1, Jalen Carter. Okay, Jalen Carter. But you said Witherspoon. You said Witherspoon. I do like Witherspoon. I do like him. He's showing out as far as the cornerbacks go. And then I'm gonna shout out Christian Gonzalez too. He's doing what he can over there on the Patriots. So, you know, but Devin Witherspoon is showing out for the CBs this year. But Jalen Carter number 1.
Ah boy, man. Ah boy.
I mean, how can you not have JC1 if you don't have Devin Witherspoon 1? Yeah, that kid over there. Yeah, I know he slowed down a little bit, and he got mollywopped in a couple of plays this past week against the Cowboys. But 4 sacks so far for a D tackle is obviously really good. If he finishes anywhere near, he doubles that for the rest of the year. As a first-year D tackle in NFL, I mean, that's ridiculous. Another one for me, got to be Brian Branch. The kid is a thumper. You know, I think he's replaced Chauncey Gardner-Johnson perfectly in that role in Detroit, to the point where I don't think they'll have to bring that brother back. I just think he's been really good, and even though he doesn't necessarily do, you know, make flash plays on a consistent basis, he does all the little things right and just keeps that defense chugging along. I mean, I feel like he single-handedly in some respects beat the Falcons. I mean, he was everywhere. And then just a really quiet one, just because I really like this team. And this team always seems to draft good defensive prospects. But Keanu Benton's just been really quiet. He's done what he's supposed to do there. They didn't miss Cam Hayward all that much while he was out. Obviously he's just one of the two rookies on that defense, but consistently getting pressure. I think right now in the NFL, he's got a 34% run stop win rate, which equals Quentin Allen and Cam Jordan in that same kind of situation. The kid's just, like I said, he's a Pittsburgh Steeler in the way he plays and the way he carries himself. So I really like him.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, for me, I hate to say this, but Deonte Banks is balling. Like that kid, hey man, like that kid is. I hate to say it, but that kid is balling. He is balling, man. He is balling. And of course, like Slim was saying, man, JPJ, he was my guy all the way up to the week out of the draft. Like he was my guy. I was JP Shorter the whole all the way up to the draft, and then I switched. Yeah. Then I switched to Deonte Banks the last week. But them two guys, man, they've been playing some good ball. And I don't even know if JPJ is starting yet, because he was coming off the bench, but he had some great reps. He started now.
Yeah.
I know he didn't start in the first few games of the year. But and I think we had this conversation leading up to the draft. But these edge rushers and these linebackers, they're not having such a good year so far.
They're not.
None of them. I mean, even Campbell, right? Even Jack Campbell, he flashes every now and then, but he's not having a ton of impact.
Yeah,
but,
same thing. Same thing with Nolan Smith. I mean, I expected a lot more coming up there. I mean, and don't get me wrong, that Nolan wasn't a true pass rusher really like that at Georgia to begin with. And that's kind of was his knock, anyways, that his pass rushing skills just wasn't there. And I'm just like, hey. We were a team by committee. So yeah, I don't like when it was time for him to do what he needed to do. He got his, and kind of how they got him running in the Eagles. So yeah, I feel like this year for the rookies, in those particular groups, it's just I just don't think that. I think we saw things in college, and I don't think the transition just came out so well. And I don't think it came out because some of the players that we're not speaking on, they had great seasons. They had multiple great seasons in college, but we're not seeing that. And I think we're going to see more when them sophomores and junior years come in the NFL for them. It just I guess this year they actually needed a little bit more development than what we really thought. To be honest, just being honest.
And that's the thing. Like this is something that I've been kind of thinking about this last couple months when we talk about these college players and they're projected to be generational and all that. But what if an elite ceiling is college, and in the NFL they're just good or great, right? Sometimes we kind of expect for the player to be who they are in college when they come to the NFL, where the talent level, the gap in the talent level is so great between college and NFL. It's shorter from high school to college, and then going down from Pop Warner to junior and those things. But a person's elite ceiling might just be college, and in the NFL they might be good or great. But we have to kind of start looking like that.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, again, I still sometimes I don't want to judge them really until year 3, and Xavier can really talk on that. I think we had a conversation about that before. I don't want to judge them until year 3. Like at year 3, then that's when I really get to find out, because you got a couple of seasons on your belt. You got a couple of starts on your belt. You know the playbook now. You've been in that system for a couple of years now. You should be improving and progressing. But if I'm starting to see a regress and you're not improving, then yeah, we can use that. Maybe their ceiling was college. Maybe, yes, they saw potential, but that potential is just not there anymore, to be perfectly honest with you. So I do agree with that. It just, we can't make that. It just, for the NFL, it's longer than that of the likes of the NBA. And even with baseball is even longer, to be honest. But NFL is just, year 3, sometimes year 4, just depends, especially if they were like later round draft picks that started to get a start that second or third year. We can't really make a determination, but in basketball, you can. It's a little bit longer.
For sure. The other piece that I really want to kind of watch with these next couple of draft classes is the fact that a lot of these kids will have been affected by COVID in some way, shape, or form. and losing a full year of truly being able to progress on the field and off the field. You got to remember, a lot of these schools were like, practicing in waves and didn't have the full off seasons. Obviously, then most of them only played 70% of a season, but even when it wasn't even legit because games were getting canceled left and right. So I feel like a lot of these guys are coming out, either they're coming out extremely seasoned, right? Like a Michael Penix Jr., who's had 6 years, a Bo Nix 6 years in college football because of
Bo Nix was 10 years. That dude,
well, he does not have
been hearing his name forever. Yeah,
he does not have the record for most games played in the college football in college football history. But either they're on that end, or if they come out early, they're kids who had a year taken away from them. Hell, for some of them too, right? Because 2021 wasn't completely COVID free. We still had to deal with it in that year too. So I feel like a lot of these kids are on one extreme or the other, which is like, I got to play 6 years in college football due to COVID, or I got to really play like 2 and some change because of college football. So
and the portal was pre-COVID too, right? The portal change.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right before COVID, right?
Right before COVID. Yep.
That's another thing with Penix too. That that's my guy. So
the portal was definitely not as heavy until after COVID hit. You start seeing these people use their eligibilities, and
that's because when the rule changed, right?
Yeah.
Like right before COVID.
The rule change. Yeah.
So also one thing about this, the edge class that you talk about, like they're not producing as much, and I will say, I do believe this upcoming edge class from the top, like you said, they're going to be a little bit better. But when you see the Bears make a move like trading for Montez Sweat, that kind of tells you what kind of direction that they're going to go. And they're basing it by looking at Montez Sweat's production against maybe the third and fourth end in the NFL draft coming up next year. So I think that's some of the things we're going to be seeing probably in the next couple of months after the season. Some of these guys that are on these last legs of their contracts and they're trying to get negotiations, and you're trying to put up with these draft classes coming out, like the best receivers or tight ends, certain spots, maybe premium positions, and see, are you willing to go and get the guy that's probably the fourth or fifth best, or are you going to get one of the vets right now that can help you contribute? So that's definitely something to watch out for.
Yeah, no, and definitely. I mean, you got the Neil Hunter possibly coming out. Burns is unhappy. We're gonna see a lot of movement this offseason. I think we the trade deadline has come and gone. I think there's gonna be more trades once the new season happens, because again, as we can definitely see this year, offensive line is a major need. Major need. And this is not just talking about our teams in particular. This is across the NFL. You know what I mean? So this is showing the offensive linemen are needed, but then, making big trades like that, Chase Young, you guys getting, offloading Chase Young and even Sweat to other places. This is really showing us that a lot of people are really now starting to pay attention to the trenches. So, I mean, I know somebody probably won't pass up on a Marvin Harrison Jr., but if you have one of the top offensive tackles or guards or centers right there next to Marvin Harrison, who are you going to pick? What is your need at that? You know what I'm saying? So I don't think some of the skill positions are going to go as high as what we think. If you do have some of those edges or those defensive players that can make a difference, that can help make a difference on your squad, or offensive linemen that can help make a difference.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. So that's why I said, when I think the Bears looking at it, why wait to develop talent when I can go out there and go get talent and give up a pick when I already know that I'm only a few pieces away. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that, I mean, to speak on it, I think the NFC finally realizes that they have to do what the AFC did maybe a decade ago, and they got to out. Like, think about it. I was me and a homie were doing an experiment the other day, and it was like, name the top 10 quarterbacks and tell me when you get to an NFC guy. And we went through about 5 or 6 before we got to like Jalen Hurts, and we were like, we could probably argue about 2 guys maybe in and around him, right? But I think that's kind of where we're at right now with the NFC, and you see it so much. All of these teams have been like trying out veteran quarterbacks for the last 3, 4, 5 years. It hasn't worked out, and now all of them are like, oh, damn, we need a quarterback. And it's like, yeah, we've been telling y'all this for a minute now. Yeah. Go get yourselves a quarterback, or at the very least take a swing on a young guy. And nobody's been able to. A lot of teams in the NFC have kind of bypassed that to just go for veterans, and now they're just like, all right, cool, tank out, see where we line up, and let's see if we can go get a guy. Because this is something that should have happened years ago, and now everybody's in the NFC looks like they're in the same arms race. So it's like, who can get the best quarterbacks the quickest? And right now, I mean, you look at like you guys mentioned, you looked at Chicago. Chicago has possibly 2 picks in the top 3. They're sitting pretty. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna get possibly a quarterback and a guy to go with him. And we have an opportunity to move Justin Fields. If that's something we want to do. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, out of all the NFC teams, when we kind of look at it, Chicago is sitting pretty dang well when you think about it compared to like some of the other teams who are needing quarterbacks. My team in particular right now, what the heck we playing Russian roulette. You know what I mean? And then, you got the Cowboys who have a little situation coming up, and that's brewing with Dak's contract. You know what I'm saying? What is Jerry Jones is going to do with that situation? Then you got, if the 49ers can't make it nowhere with Brock Purdy, I don't know what they're going to do because they kind of gave up a lot just for Trey Lance.
Purdy got to work, right? Purdy got to work, man. Like
it's right now it's crazy. Even with the Minnesota Vikings, y'all just lost Kirk Cousins for the years. Is Dobbs the new guy? You got the Cardinals who are sitting over here looking possibly to move on from Kyler Murray if somebody wants to take that contract.
I mean, and just imagine if the Bears believe in Justin Fields, what they could do with those 2 picks.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Like right now, the NFC is a mess. It's the ghetto, for real.
I mean, the ghetto is up the street. You know what I'm saying? We jive good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just messing.
Man, that is going to be a lot to think about. Like, if they keep Justin Fields, can you imagine having DJ Moore and possibly Marvin Harrison Jr.? That is, oh my God, that is a nasty duo.
And they could flip the other one. I mean, they could get a ransom. Yeah. They could flip it. They could flip it like 2 or 3 times in the same draft, man.
And pick up. Oh my God! I don't think about it. Now,
imagine they made the same trade they made last year, this year, for the exact same kind of capital. Like they could be sitting at 2, talking to whomever, and be like, you know what? You want to trade up to 2? Give us 2 first rounders and a top end defensive talent. Cool. Like that's what they could end up doing.
Y'all to win. Y'all giving Carolina, y'all giving Chicago a little bit too much. They got a little bit too much chip on their chip. Like,
and they got the cap space. Like they got the cap space.
They about to be the top team with them. Win. Y'all win. Stop playing with us. Dang it.
Y'all better be praying on Justin Fields' downfall because that's the only way that makes that pick necessary for that team.
Yes.
Everything else, like, all right, we can keep going.
And this is the thing. Like this will show me they believe in him. They will sit him. Right? They will sit him because if they play him, to me, that's saying they don't really believe him. They just trying to showcase him.
But can you say the same thing with the Cleveland Browns though? What they're doing with Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, that's another place that got to work. He got to work too. Because
it's nothing they can do. Yeah? Ain't no way you put that guy on the bench. Ain't no way they put that guy on the bench.
The Giants are getting lucky. The Giants gave all that money, and they over there like, oh wait, Daniel's hurt.
Hold on.
He ain't gotta play him. Cool.
Can we talk about that for like 2 seconds? Can we really just like talk about that for 2 seconds?
Talk about the blue people.
The blue people.
Why did y'all make that decision to give that man so much money?
And the thing is that there was discourse about that because it happened right at the deadline, literally seconds before the deadline. So there was discourse between front office and ownership.
But do you think that the head coach or even the GM, possibly the owner, pulled a Josh McDaniels?
I think Mara wanted him. Mara wanted to pay him. I believe Mara wanted to pay him.
Remember, Dable doesn't come in with Jones. That's not his quarterback.
Yeah,
they just told Dable, here you go. Like, enjoy. And now they're saying, here you go for another 4 years. And I can tell you right now, if I was Dable, I'm sitting on the sideline like, y'all better not fire me. It's not my fault.
Yeah.
Y'all see this man right here? It's not my fault.
Oh, baby, he better pop them. He better pop them feet up over there in the on his office and be like, "So what we talking about?"
Right.
Ain't no way they don't go quarterback. They just
They
gonna
have the number 4 pick right now. There is no way.
they don't go
Let me
quarterback.
pop these knuckles real quick.
Oh Lord.
Turn the oven up.
When it comes to the New York Football Giants, and Deuce, you're going to remember this reference. The way they cater to Daniel Jones, the way they say, "Oh, we put him in a bad situation, this and that," and it's been 5 years. This reminds me of when Daniel Snyder, I hate to say that name, Daniel Snyder hired Jay Gruden to fix RG3.
Ooh.
They tried to fix something that was not going to work. They tried to get Daniel Jones to be something that he never was really going to be.
All the way back to Duke. Like
Duke.
He's never done the things that they paid him to do.
He's not even better than Anthony Boone, the quarterback coach. He's not better than Riley Reynolds, the guy that might come out this year.
Tyrod Taylor ran that offense better than he did.
Look,
we could go. Look, I could give you more than 2 minutes. Like I could give you more than 2 minutes about Daniel Jones.
He's a good dude, bro. But at the end of the day,
he's a good guy.
He's not like that. The only reason he got the money is because he beat us. And to be honest with you, he only had 2 games where he put up fantastic numbers. Every other game has been subpar.
Yeah.
All the games have been 1-score games.
In that Vikings game.
Yeah.
In the Vikings game. Who we wanted to play in the playoffs.
Everybody wanted to play.
Yeah, everybody wanted to play those fraudulent. Oh, man. Oh. I had Vikings fans telling me they were not confident going into that game. And I was like, but y'all like 12-5, 13-4. It was like, yeah, I don't mean nothing.
And the next game they got obliterated. Like the next game the Giants got obliterated.
Exactly.
So you're going to use the Vikings game, which had probably arguably the worst defense ever in the playoffs, and you're going to use that game to pay this,
bingo.
15
touchdowns.
Look, all I'm going to do is just say this. We got a problem in New York.
On both sides.
Yeah.
On both sides. Both of the ones that share the same state.
The Canadian team might not make the playoffs, but that's a different conversation.
The whole of New York right now is in struggle season. So
Yep,
yes, they is, baby. Yes,
yes.
Oh man.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so since we talking about some heat, we're gonna leave the floor to y'all too, because y'all are y'all family up here. We your cousins in the DMV area, because of Taylor Heineke. We want to know, why is Arthur Smith killing my fantasy team?
And before we go there, let's take 5. Let's take 5.
It's really the take. Oh my gosh, he's about to use the press conference. X, get him.
What is it maybe that he does or doesn't bring in the red zone that's kind of led to him not getting a lot of the work?
Well, I think a lot of it, again, the results are what they are. And Mike, so this is kind of a, I'll give some context to it. Because again, a smart friend of mine too, we were talking about nuance and context, and sometimes, 2 things could be true at once. One, when you haven't gotten the results you want, you should be.
Wait a minute. What is he talking about?
Get this man out of my organization, bro.
Yeah, I thought Ron was the worst.
I thought Ron was bad.
Bro, get this man out of my organization, bro.
I thought Ron was the worst. We're not going to get through this. Matter of fact, I'm not going to.
Listen, dudes, you didn't have to do that. You didn't have to do that.
Exactly.
You didn't have to do that. As a man whose dad owns the stadium rights deal, that brings up that. Personally,
Here we go.
Wait a minute. How the first cousin go say something to the real cousins? What y'all doing?
This is nasty.
Hold up.
Y'all see the shaved mustache all of a sudden. I put it on Twitter. He looks like what happens after a bad breakup. Like, this man is in shambles. He has no idea what he's doing up there, and you can hear him. He's talking shakily. This is a grown
This
man.
is crazy. The first 20 seconds, I don't know. He's talking about his friends and putting context. Like he
And
said, he's his
nuance.
friend. Nuance. Like, what are you talking about? Well, let's get a little bit more.
And be objective. And I thought about it being objective. So what does that mean? So you got to go look at things that didn't work. You know, why you did something, what your intent is. Okay, well, why is the result? So you got to look at your mistakes and your failures and say, all right, this is what our intent, what you're thinking about, or how do I objectively fix that? And that's what you got to be really honest. That's the only way you improve. So whether you're coaching or you're a player or you're in any other industry, that's real. And that's what we strive to do every week. Obviously, we've never thought of perfect. So you look at the red zone. We've got 28 trips. We've scored touchdowns on 14 of them. So that's half, 50%. Not where you want to be. You obviously want to score every time, but historically, if you're in the mid to high 60s, you're usually up there and leading the league. Some of the years we were really good in Tennessee, we were damn near at 75%. But that's kind of, you want to strive to be 100. That's what you're aiming for. So you're at 50 there, so 28 trips. And other than, we've had to kick field goals 9 times. 2 of them were situational, win the game, break Green Bay, Houston. So those are 2.
Hold up. I'm going to stop. Hold up. I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop. I'm going to tell you why. Every Wednesday night, which we're moving to Tuesdays, we have reactions to Ron's press conferences. And we react to them just like we doing now. I'm adding this one. We gonna react to this one. So I don't want to listen no more.
No. This right here, this photo right here should be the screenshot for the rest of the season. That right there. Look at him.
Oh my God!
Like in no way, shape, or form does that look like a confident man right now. He's shaking.
Oh my gosh! That's bad. That's bad. But that's the thing with Bijan. It's like in the off season, when E went to training camp, she came back with all excited in the first couple games. Excited. Bijan is at wide receiver. He's in the slot. He's at wing. He's at punt returner. He's calling the plays. He's playing quarterback. He's pulling on the traps as a guard. It was like Bijan was all over the place. And you have like the whole Cal Pitts thing, Drake London, Algier, Cordell Patterson.
Weapons.
It's weapons galore. So what is it? Is Arthur Smith that bad? Is he the play caller?
I'm gonna let X answer this because I'm because at this point we
look
know what Arthur Smith is at this point.
Look. You just named all the amenities inside of a Pinto. That's the problem. That's what you just did. You just named heated seats, Bluetooth, heated steering wheel inside of a car that ain't got no engine.
Panoramic,
right? Art doesn't know what he's doing with all the weapons that he has. It's so infuriating every Sunday to watch him do the things that we're asking him to do with the people you just named with everybody else. I don't know if you guys got to see any of the highlights from last week's game, but Jonnu Smith, 71-yard screen for a touchdown, right? Why is that not Kyle? Now, I understand Kyle's not 100%, so that might be the reason as to why. But then you have a drive late in that game, and we run the ball 11 straight times. Bijan didn't touch it once. Like, you're seeing these things where Bijan is what, 4th in our team? Exactly. Where Bijan is what, 4th in our team in red zone touches? Like, come on, brother. We took these are guys we've taken at 4, 5, and 8. And outside of Drake, none of them are getting the requisite touches that they should for picks that high. And it's frustrating.
Yep, it is frustrating. I know, Mama. I know it is very frustrating. Very, very frustrating, child. Like I mean, even to piggyback off of that, it's just, again, you expecting him to have almost similarities to what he had in Tennessee. Yes, we don't have the Derrick Henry. That's perfectly fine. I'm not tripping about that. But I expect to see what I saw in Tennessee here. Matter of fact, I expect to see what I saw last season with Marcus Mariota here. but I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing that at all. Yes, we may have had some question marks around Desmond Ridder, and that's fine. That is legitimately fine. But then we throw Tyler Heineke in. Fans get excited after a second half play because he's moving the offense. We get him to play the whole first. Now, no, not saying that he had a bad game last week, but again, it was the play call that now everybody has finally seen that what are you doing? And people say, oh, well, we're moving the ball. We're not getting turnovers. We're kicking field goals. I don't care about no threes. I want 6. Yeah. If I'm taking red zone trip, like he just said, if we're taking red zone trips and we're only completing half of them, that's a problem to me when we got the playmakers to where we should be at 100%. If my defense puts me at the 1 yard line, I expect y'all to run Tyler Algier, Bijan, or give me a play with Kyle Pitts when I know nobody ain't gonna stop him in that back end zone to catch a ball for 6. Not send Koo out there for 3. Because at this point, pay Koo wide receiver money at this point, because that's how the only way we're gonna win. Pay him wide receiver money. Because I'm like, I can't do this. I can't. I love me some Koo, but I should not have to put a game winner in his hand to win. We should be winning by touchdowns. If you go back and really look, it was supposed to be 42, not 28. Like, no.
Yeah, Bijan should have like at least 6 touchdowns, yo. Like, you got to feed your bell cow, got to feed your playmakers, and that's what I've seen. I didn't watch the whole game, but I watched at least the first half going into the third quarter. I saw some things that I liked, but then, especially when y'all got in the red zone, like that's where the money down is, and the execution has to be better. And sometimes that's definitely on the guy that's calling the plays, especially when you have Kyle Pitts and the guys that can get open. Like you see with Kyle Heineke, like at least he was able to do something like throw the ball downfield, give guys a chance to make plays. But when you got in the red zone in tight situations, that's where I think the struggles is. And hopefully you guys can rebound this week and the next couple of weeks, because
he don't have a
division.
He don't have a choice. I'm putting it out there right now, and this is not something that is of any of the fans. So anybody who is still holding on to Arthur Smith as a head coach of the Falcons, this ain't fan speak. Blank said at the beginning of the year, it's playoffs or bust. So hey, brother, you get it together or you go. Like there's no gray area here. Arthur Blank was pretty bold in saying we put a team on the field that we think should make the playoffs, and from all intents and purposes, he's right. But the way that the execution, especially in the red zone, is right now, is of a team that looks like it's in rebuild mode, and that's far from where we are right now. It's not 2021 anymore. So either AS makes the playoffs, or I mean, he can go work for his dad at FedEx. It don't really mean much to me, bro. You either get in or you don't. We'll see you later.
No, I mean and the thing about it is he's legitimately telling the truth. Is at this point in time is like. Now people are really questioning and hire. People are really saying, why did you get a coach before you got a GM? And all of this little type of stuff. It's basically, in a sense, us trying to really put 2 and 2 together. Now, Terry does not have no loyalty to Arthur. He really doesn't. He came in after the fact. He just like, okay, I'm just here to help, move this money, get these players and put a team together. And now I think Blank is going to have that conversation probably with Terry and try to figure out exactly what he want to do. So at the end, I'm not going to be surprised that if Terry comes over here and say we're going in another direction, because I feel like we wasted the defense this year. I really did. I feel like we're not giving Bijan his full, capable, his abilities. I feel like his sophomore year he's gonna tear it up with it if we do get a new coach and a QB. But it's just this year I feel bad because that's a waste. That's a waste of a year. You know what I mean? That really is. And that's how you don't keep players. That's how the retention doesn't stay. And I think that's why a lot of, top name free agents really don't want to come to Atlanta. It's like, y'all not going to waste my talents. That's how I kind of feel about it.
Man, yeah. I know I was terrified on that last play with Jamie Davis and Bijan. I was terrified on that one-on-one. We was terrified that game, man. But yeah, man, I'm about to get out of here. X, I'm going to definitely reach out to you I do appreciate you and the beautiful lady for the beautiful baby girl for joining us. I know y'all about to get into the week 10 slates, but I will see you and I'll be chatting with you soon. All right, EDT, I get up with y'all.
All right, Deuce.
All right, man. So with that being said, let's go ahead to the week 10 slate. First game we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about y'all little brother and them. We're going to talk about little brother and them tonight. So the Panthers will be heading to the Windy City to take on Tyson Baggett and the Chicago Bears. I'm going to say I'm going to say Panthers. I think the Panthers are going to sneak a victory. I think it's going to be a close game. Probably be like 16-19 type of game. I got Panthers win by 3.
They said Baggett is supposed to have his breakout game. I mean, I want the Panthers to lose, but I need them to win. But I'm still going Bears. I can't choose LeBron now.
I can't either, but it would be more in the Bears' favor to win this game. Make that pick even better. You know, it's a win-win situation for them, but make that pick even better.
Exactly. Make it. Just push it in there. Yes, baby. Yes.
All right. So next matchup, we have the other game in Germany. We have the Indianapolis Colts take on New England Patriots. I'm going with the Colts. Played the Patriots last week. I'm gonna be completely honest with y'all. If the Patriots had receivers and a better quarterback, they beat us.
True.
But because they don't have none of that stuff right now, that's why I'm going with the Colts. And I like the Colts defense a little bit better than the Patriots defense right now.
I agree with that. Yeah, Gardner Minshew got the Colts rolling. I don't see that there was any type of drop off from Anthony. Well, I ain't gonna say like a huge major drop off, but I feel like this, as far as keeping the team spinning and keeping things progressing, Gardner Minshew was the perfect person to kind of step in there and still give them an opportunity to win. So yeah, I'm going with the Colts. Patriots. I seen something that Robert Kraft may be out on Bill Belichick, so we'll see. This might be a must win for him, to be honest.
The Patriots are 2-7. I don't know if I ever thought I would say that in my lifetime. Like, they are, I think right now, 5th in the draft coming up. They don't know what they want to do with Mac Jones. That Bill Belichick might be gone. That team is in, you talk about complete rebuild. Imagine losing a legend and your QB all in the same offseason. Give me the Colts. I think Jonathan Taylor has shown no ill factor from not starting the season off and doing the holdout. He looks really good now. And the Colts are they're fun to watch, man. Michael Pittman, obviously Minshew is one of the better backups in the NFL. And Jonathan Taylor in that running game with him and Zach Moss, they get after it. So give me the Colts.
Yep, exactly.
All right. So this, as my boy Joshua said on his podcast I listened to this morning, this is going to be game of the day. You got the Cleveland Browns heading to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Been waiting for this matchup, been waiting for Deshaun Watson to finally get himself a little bit together. I don't know if he's 100% or not, but all eyes are on Cleveland. They're playing Baltimore. Baltimore's been on a crazy streak. I think the last 2 times they played at home, they put up average 30-some points to maybe 9 points a game against opponents. Browns bring this defense. Ravens bring this defense. Yeah. Whoever can muster some type of offense. And right now,
limit turnovers,
definitely. I got to go with the hot hand. I'm going to take Baltimore, but I would not be shocked if Cleveland finds a way to win this game.
Be more. This game is going to be the battle of the defenses, I believe. I believe both defenses are going to really step up and try to make some plays. Not saying that Lamar is not going to make his plays, and not saying if Deshaun Watson is truly starting, that Deshaun is not going to make his plays. But like I said, it's going to come down to who can limit the turnovers the most, and it's going to come down to what defense make that last stop. So I am going with them Birds. I'm gonna go with B More. I feel like Top Monk can get some things together.
Yeah, give me Baltimore. Deshaun Watson still doesn't look like he's turned that corner yet. He threw 2 touchdowns last week. One of them was off of a DB's helmet. So I'm not necessarily sure he's really hit that turn that corner as most Browns fans would have you believe. And I think what Todd's got going over there for that offense is cooking. Lamar's is completing 71% of his passes right now. That's a career high. They're still running the football, so they haven't lost their identity at all. And they're getting healthier on the defense side of the ball. I mean, look, this is a team that is 7-2, and I think at one point had 5 defensive starters out. So, look, they're getting healthier. That's a bad thing for the Browns. And even though the Browns defense is great, that Ravens offense week in and week out is probably playing the best it has all year. I mean, they put up, 38 points last week. They look like they might have their running back one in Keaton Mitchell out of East Carolina. I just – everything's going too well for the Ravens right now, and they're at home, which is what I think me over the edge for this one. If it was in Cleveland, maybe I think a little bit different, but they just got everything cooking right now, and I don't think that the Browns stopped that trend.
Yep. Myles Garrett better stop trying to sit over here and work on his handles.
That's some good choices. Okay, so next we have the Texans after a thrilling 39-37 win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They head to the jungle to take on the Bengals. Bengals are starting to catch their groove, and I think they're going to be scary in the AFC. I love what Texas is doing so far, but I'm going to take the Bengals by 10.
Okay. I agree. I mean, I'm going to cross my fingers to say that the Texans make an upset, but I highly kind of doubt it. With the, their team is strong, but not that strong. So yes, I'm picking the Bengals.
Yeah, give me Cincinnati. They're starting. We talked about teams starting to get their footing, and Joe Shiesty is finally healthy, and it looks like it. I mean, he's thrown 9 touchdowns and 2 interceptions in his last 4 games. I mean, he's hooping, and that defense is doing what it needs to do. It's been doing that pretty much all season, but obviously they didn't have the offense to match. And then last week's game against the Bills was just impressive. I mean, he throws almost 350, 70% completion percentage. And they beat some really good teams in this stretch. Like they beat the Seahawks, 49ers, and Bills coming into this game. So I think they're battle tested. And unfortunately for the Texans, I just think that defense is still behind the offense. I mean, you gave up 37 points to the Buccaneers last week. That's nothing to be happy about. So give me the Bengals here to keep this ball rolling.
I agree.
All right, next game we had the 49ers coming off their bye week, and they head into Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. This is definitely going to be a new look 49ers team. Chase Young is now on that defensive line with his former teammate Nick Bosa. 49ers have lost probably the last 3 games. Purdy is starting to look human. They're playing in Jacksonville in the warm, playing Trevor Lawrence. I don't know what Trevor Lawrence will get. We'll probably get a pedestrian Trevor Lawrence, or we get Trevor Lawrence that throw for 285, 3 touchdowns, Chris Kirk, and Calvin Ridley. I think this game will come down to the turnovers and field position play. I'm going to lean with Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville is going to come with the upset.
Ooh, we calling upset picks. Okay. I mean, look, we know the 49ers has lost 3 in a row, and we're not seeing what we kind of saw close to the end and into the playoffs with Brock Purdy before he got injured. I'm still not going to take away from that 49ers defense. I'm still not going to take away that. I'm not sure if they did have a bye, so Chase Young should be a little bit acclimated with some of the play calls on the defensive line. Again, this is not to take away from T-Law. T-Law has been having a phenomenal season and has been doing the things that he needs to do. But I can't call this one an upset. I think it's going to be 49ers, and I think it's going to come in late. A field goal late. That's how late it is. You're good. She over there having fun.
Having too much fun on her daddy's desk. Yeah, man. All of a sudden, I start seeing wires and stuff flying. I said, wait a second, hold on. Let's slow this down before we just kill the whole vibe. But yeah, give me the Jaguars here. I think the problem with the 49ers has been health, and they are getting healthier. Debo was a full participant in practice this week. But it's not a good time to run into a team that's feeling confident about itself. That doesn't mean that the 49ers won't hit their stride eventually. But I just don't know if it's this week. Now, I will say, if Chase Young does give them the Chase Young that he was giving the Commanders this season, then all bets are off. But I just feel like right now the Buccaneers need not the Buccaneers, but the 49ers need another week. Then they feel like they might have a stretch there where they can get some confidence. They'll play the Buccaneers and the Seahawks in back-to-back weeks. I think they can get their stride then. I just don't feel like right now against a Jaguars team, that is rolling and has been since London. Shout out to that game. Yeah. But has, on the same token, has beaten some pretty good teams. Obviously, they've been able to do their job, and more importantly, their defense has been really, really good this year. Where the offense has kind of figured itself out. T-Law with another slow start, but the defense quite the opposite.
Yeah, I like the way you think, bro. All right, we got the Saints and we got the Vikings. Josh Dobbs had that heroic game against y'all last week. This game might be tough for me because I feel like for whatever reason the Vikings always find a way to stay in these type of games, and Saints, they do have the defense to keep them in the game. My question's always been Derek Carr when it comes to the red zone, but I think the Saints will muster just enough offense. I got the Saints winning.
Ooh. I mean, I will give it to them. The Saints defense is actually starting to click, and they're starting to put a lot of things together. They're looking better than what they have at the beginning of the season. Carr is still going to be Carr, to be honest with you, but I feel like Carr is doing what he can with them. I mean, he's getting Michael Thomas involved. They got Olave. They got their tight end. So they're getting weapons. Kamara's going to be Kamara. So yeah, I could see that with the Vikings. I do want to say this about Josh Dobbs. I think just because of our lack of preparation and knowing that we were missing a very vital piece on defense, it didn't help us when it came down to the run. And I will agree the Saints can be able to stop that QB run. So yeah, I will give it to the Saints. But Josh Dobbs showed why the Vikings made that trade. And I mean, they did want to start the rookie and give him an opportunity to play since he has a draft pick, but also in the same sense, I think we all seen with Josh, slowly demolishing the Dallas Cowboys that he has something in there.
Yeah, give me the Vikings here. I think the Saints defense, their secondary has been elite, but their pass rush is not. They are bottom 5 in the NFL right now in sacks, which is something I didn't think I'd say about a Saints team. They're missing Ryan Nielsen. That's the problem. But I think right now you're looking at a Vikings team. What are they? They won 4 straight. They're playing just inspired football. Lose Kirk Cousins, lose Justin Jefferson. I think people have forgotten about that to an extent. They're just playing inspired football. Also, they're at home. I think Josh Dobbs, what he brings as a runner will impact this game, similarly how it did against us. I also think at the end of the day, this feels like one of those games where Derek Carr just, once again, for another game, just seemingly isn't on with his team. It isn't on with his receivers. Like, people can talk about that win last week all they want to. The Saints had forced 5 turnovers in that game and won by a touchdown. Like, sorry. You forced 5 TD. Right. You forced 5 turnovers. Yes. You forced 5 turnovers and only win by a touchdown. That's not impressive, especially against a bad Bears team. So, I can only imagine what happens this week if the Vikings play a clean game. So, give me the Vikings.
Yep. Yeah. Look, she's saying Viking. Look, she was over there practicing the skull. You see that? She was skull.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this too. After this year, Josh Dobbs does not need to be seen on nobody else's couch. He needs to have a job somewhere. He needs to have a lucrative contract because this brother went to multiple teams and produced and find a way to keep his teams in the game. So I'm giving him a shout out because he prepares himself like a veteran, like a leader, and I'm just been impressed with him so far this year, man. Shout out to Joshua Dobbs, man.
Oh yeah. I mean, like we said the same thing about Geno Smith. So let's see if he can continue on and Geno is not having a good season, but let's hope he has a better season next year on somebody's team. Might be the Vikings. Who knows if they fully move away from Kirk Cousins.
All right. Next game we have the Packers heading to the Steelers. Ooh, Packers won last week, right?
They did.
Yeah, they beat the Rams last week.
Beat Rams. Jordan Love looked decent. They kept the game pretty easy for them. Pittsburgh offense. George Pickens out here about to be the next AB. The way he acting.
Hey, bring him to Georgia too. Come on, we love you down here, George. I promise you. Come here. Come here.
I don't know E. I don't know X. I don't know about this game.
Look. We'll get rid of Arthur Smith for you, buddy. Come on down.
I want to say the Steelers, but I can see Packers find a way to win this.
Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow.
Wait, you talking about Lil Wayne? You talking about the Packers fan?
Black and yellow, black and yellow.
I'm going with Steelers, man. This game tough for me.
I mean, I think with the inconsistencies of the Green Bay Packers, I think that's why it's making it tough, because we see them, a game that they possibly could have lost last week, they win, and a game that they should have won, they lose. So we're seeing them have that inconsistency. The thing about the Steelers for me, even though I am going to pick the Steelers, is that we need them to have solid games. That's what we need. They're getting their players involved. Defense is doing what they're supposed to do, but we need them to have solid games, not games where it's kind of like it doesn't look good in the start of the beginning, and then they come out and try to do it. So I'm still going with Steelers, but again, I don't know what Green Bay we're going to see this week.
I know this is going to sound ridiculous when I say it, but I trust Kenny Pickett more than Jordan Love. Like,
you can say that.
At this point in the year, I don't trust either quarterback. Let me put that out there. But I think I know that the Steelers defense can create more turnovers than I know that the Packers can. TJ Watt and them boys, Cam Hayward is healthy, Alonzo Highsmith and company. I know that they can create more turnovers than the Packers defense. Not to say that the Packers defense is bad. Obviously, Kenny Clark, Jair, but I think like last week, the Steelers pretty much won them the game against the Titans last week, and I think that they do it again. Yeah. Especially once again, the home field advantage is probably the best in the NFL in Pittsburgh, and that wills them to wins like 60% of the time. So give me the Steelers to win this game. I think the Packers are in a really weird situation with Jordan Love. They kind of acknowledged that last week, saying we don't know if he's our quarterback going forward, which is kind of scary to be in after you put a first-round draft tag on him. But give me the Steelers. I think they just do enough. Like, they will just win that game like 17-13, and nobody will think of anything of it. And they'll be 6-3, which is the grossest thing possible for the way that you watched them play this year.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike Tomlin always finds a way to stay above 500 and still have some type of.
Hey, that brother's made out of Teflon. I don't get it. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I agree, man. He always find a way to win when people doubt him and stuff. He still find a way to make a way. Exactly. All right, the Titans and the Bucks.
Give me the Titans. I just need the Bucks to lose. So
I'm taking the Titans too.
The Bucks just didn't look good last week. I'll be honest. I think we broke them. X.
I hope so for our sake, right? But this feels like the Will Levis game from hell. He hasn't had it yet. And I know everybody's talking about CJ Stroud and like, oh, maybe rookies are just going, he's just going to kind of walk through the rest of his schedule. But at some point, Will Levis is going to turn the football over. Like, he didn't do it enough last week, in my opinion, and the chances that he, probably should have. And the Buccaneers defense is still loaded with players. Like, once again, CJ Stroud kind of picked them apart last week, but Will Levis ain't CJ Stroud, and the Titans receiving core ain't the Texans receiving core. Like, so I think the Buccaneers win this game. I think their defense is just too good. I think Will Levis probably has his first multi-pick game in this matchup.
I mean, I think is Levis has something to prove too.
Which for sure.
After being slated of going even in like the top 5 as a QB, you fall into the second round, literally wasted a suit. Everything. So I think this is his opportunity to prove. And then 2, he didn't really have a good senior year. He was hurt his senior year.
Mm-hmm.
That was one thing. So this is him to really prove that, I think Belichick made the wrong move. I think this was supposed to be your guy, bro, but he's with Tennessee.
Slight, and this is not indicative of anybody on the podcast. This is my belief, but I'm gonna call out Ryan Tannehill real quick because you said that you weren't going to mentor Malik Willis at all. Then this week come out and say I'm all there for Will Levis if he has any questions.
Uh-oh.
I don't know, brother. That feels a little sketchy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Uh-oh.
I'm just saying. Look, you make the bed that you lie in, and as soon as Will Levis is named the starter, you're like, oh yeah, I'll help out the young kid as much as he needs to. When Malik Willis was drafted, I'm not helping out somebody who can steal my job. Make it make sense, Ryan. Make it make sense.
Look, all I'm gonna do is see over here. He plays for Tennessee. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right, let's get this nasty matchup out of the way. We got the Giants and the Cowboys. I'm taking the Cowboys.
I mean, let's get that.
What else are you gonna do? Like, come on, man! Like this is gonna be one of them games that the Cowboys win like 42-10, and you have to hear Cowboys fans talk about how good they are. But it's like y'all beat Tommy DeVito and the Giants. Like, chill out.
Let them have a moment for 2.5 seconds because we always know they disappear in the playoffs.
Right. Next game, you have the New York Jets at the Raiders. And you know what? I'm taking the Raiders.
Raiders are playing inspired football. I'm taking the Raiders too.
Last week, yo. O'Connell looked good.
Good, yes. They're playing expired football. I'm going Raiders.
Well, look, that's what they did last week. Excuse me. They passed the ball to their best receiver. Like, it ain't rocket science. They have a talented team. They just got to use the talent. You know what I'm saying? So
that's Josh McDaniels.
Right. Again, for the second time, right? So give me the Raiders.
And all right, Monday night game, we have the Broncos and the Bills. Broncos 3-5. Bills are reeling. I just seen a report on my phone that the players had a player-only meeting for the Bills. I don't know what Bill team we're going to get, man.
Not the dreaded player-only meeting.
Look, I'm going to sit over here and tell you just like this, DT, and I've been telling y'all this for weeks. I don't trust the Bills.
Yeah.
Been telling y'all that for weeks. No,
it's both a straight meeting because both of the teams ain't what we think they are. Let's be completely honest.
Both Broncos, let's ride. You know what? And because of the way the Bills have been playing kind of this season, and I'm just being perfectly honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if the Broncos upset them. The Broncos, been looking but then they be looking wow, then they be looking you know what I mean? And the Bills love to play down to that looking you know what I mean? I'll be honest with you. This is my upset pick. I'm picking the Broncos.
You know what's crazy? Like, I put it in the Commanders chat today. We were talking about some of the situations. If you're looking like, okay, you're watching the game, you're gonna be like, Russell Wilson, he's still doing the same stuff. But number-wise, Russell's like top 5 in touchdown passes.
Yes.
He had 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions.
Right.
So his play is not that bad. And him going up against the Bills, if he come up there and produce, I agree with you. Like, they can definitely upset them.
Yeah.
But for Common Curtis's to redeem myself for the stray I just caught on this channel, I need the Bills to win on Monday. I need the Bills to win.
They're right. I'm going Broncos.
I'm gonna have to go Bills here. They're really fighting for their playoff life in a lot of ways. The Dolphins look like the class of that division, and more importantly, you're looking at the rest of the conference, and it really feels like they're not. The rest of the conference isn't doing what it needs. Is running away from them right now. right? Like they end up at 500. That might be it. 5 losses might be too much for a lot of this conference at this point. So I give me the Bills here. Like I said, they're playing for their playoff lives. And yeah, you're right. Russell is, I mean, I'm not going to say he's cooking because you look at the yardage numbers, it's not maybe where it should be as far as a guy with that many touchdowns. But at the same time, that Broncos team just got done beating the Chiefs. I'm waiting for them to let me down. Like, they're going to be, everybody's hype. Everybody in Broncos country is like, we just beat the Chiefs. Yeah. We picked off Mahomes 3 times. Yeah. Now we're going to go lose 36-14. Yeah. Like, this is just what they do, man. They get their fan bases hyped for like a week, and then they come back and they go, remember us? And it's just not what you want them to do. So give me the Bills.
I can't, like I told C. Henry, you can't go over here and put 50 points on one team and then come over here and look a mess the following. Right. Can't do that. Can't do that. You got to be consistent. If you're going to put 50 on somebody, I ain't going to say you need to put 50 over everybody, but you still need to be sitting over here and play like a contender, not a pretender.
Right. Okay, let's go ahead and finish with our team's matchup this week. Let's start with the Washington Commanders. Washington beats the New England Patriots in 2017. They head to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. This is a game of inconsistency. You don't know which team is going to show up for either side. Washington, they've shown that their offense is at least good enough. However, the defense still struggling, giving up big plays. The Seattle Seahawks, they got the talent in the defensive backfield. Defensive line, front seven, still kind of at certain points. And when they have these games, they can put up 38 points against the Detroit Lions and win. But then they can go to Baltimore and get stomped out 38-6. So the question for me is what Seattle team Washington will be facing on Sunday. If Washington faces a team that is playing down to competition, in my opinion, or not expecting a fight to come, I definitely see Washington winning. But I also can see where Seattle turns it up and finally says, hey, let's try to get back on the winning circle and do what we need to do to beat Washington. On the other hand, I think this is definitely will be a close game in the third quarter. I got Washington winning in overtime by a field goal.
I'm gonna say this for you guys. One, you're going up against a Seattle team where this game they have to win to keep the pace with the San Francisco 49ers, because with the San Francisco 49ers dropping those 3 games, that really puts the Seattle Seahawks in contention for making it to the playoffs. So this right here, at this point, these games are very pivotal for Seattle. Now, with you guys, it's like you said, your defense giving up big plays, your offense. The thing is, can the offensive line protect Sam Howell? Because I feel like the Seattle defense is going to bring everything at this man at this point to rattle him, to get him knocked off his mark, to try to lock up scary Terry over there. So again, I can see you say Washington come out in overtime, but I think Seattle's going to kind of get the upper hand on y'all. I
will say this: the last 2 weeks, ever since the main offensive line changes, we have given up 4 sacks when we average 6 sacks a game.
Okay, you should have dropped that tidbit. I'm going Washington then.
So,
you should have dropped that tidbit.
So that is in hand. The decision by EB to change up the lineup, and also Sam Howell starting to go through his reads more decisively.
Me and EB gonna have to have a talk, because it took you to week 10 to realize it.
Exactly.
But no. Well, to be fair, Larson wasn't healthy, so that was the biggest reason why.
That's fair.
But you could have did something with Sadiq Charles. Sadiq Charles has not impressed me this year.
Yeah, I mean, give me Seattle in this game. I think Seattle is the better team. Like Eb said, they're fighting for the division with the 49ers, and they're going to have to keep pace. Obviously, that's a huge aspect of it, because Seattle, like we talked about with Pittsburgh, needs a home playoff game. I mean, that home field advantage is crazy out there. So that's huge for them. They also suck on the road, so that's another piece of it. But I think the biggest reason why I'm taking Seattle is Commanders don't have their pass rush from the outside anymore. Like, I don't mean to harbor on that point, but no Young, no Montez Sweat. What does that front four look like? And can they take advantage of an offensive line in Seattle that got beat the hell up by the Ravens, right? I think Geno was sacked 5 or 6 times. Like, I just don't know what that defense looks like without those pass rushers. And until I do, I can't say I trust 100% that they're going to go out there and handle business, especially on the defense side of football. Now, the other piece of this is just like what Ev said. I think the Seahawks will just sit out there and blitz and see if Sam Howell can beat their corners, right? When you got guys like Tariq Woolen, when you have guys like Devon Witherspoon, Quandre Diggs, Jamal Adams, like they've got one of the better secondaries in the NFL. And I think they feel comfortable enough to say, all right, cool. We're going to bring as many people as we need to get home. We've got the cornerbacks that can stop this offense, especially if the Commanders can't run the football and keep them honest. So give me Seattle here. And DC, I got to ask you, what do you think the Commanders fan base wants to happen? Because I saw a lot of people on Twitter angry that y'all won last week. A lot of angry Commanders fans talking about we're winning inconsequential games. Look at us losing draft positioning for nothing. So what do you think the Commanders fan base wants to happen at this point?
You know, fan bases are always going to be mixed. In my opinion, I think either way, regardless of the outcome, Ron Rivera is going to be gone. Jack Del Rio is going to be gone. The biggest question will be whoever comes in, do they want EB to be the head coach? Because EB, wherever people don't realize, he is technically tied to the hip of Ron Rivera. I think for me, I'm always in the middle. I would like for us to actually truly rebuild the way that I wanted to rebuild in 2020, not chase cheap wins when I know that the guy was not on the roster, mainly a quarterback. But now we're in a tight situation where and you've definitely seen it on social media and stuff. The national recognition of Sam Howell's played the past couple of weeks, but now Ron Rivera is saying that the team is young and growing. So were we trying to compete for division games, or were we competing for playoffs, or were we trying to grow the quarterback position in year 4 of this regime? That has been the biggest problem. We don't know what the vision is. And in my opinion, the biggest way for Sam Howell to put a stamp that he will be the quarterback next year and QB1 is he gets us in the playoffs and win a playoff game.
That's true.
That's why I think we'll keep him. But right now, in my opinion, he has shown that, forget that draft label, the 5th rounds, all that. He's shown he can play in this league.
Yep.
He needs some things to work on, absolutely. Now, I'm just going to say this. I'm always want to win because I feel like winning has to be the standard here. You have to win to change things what's been going on.
Yeah.
And as much as y'all say this game is important for Seattle, and rightfully so, this game is important for Washington, especially down the stretch, because we play Dallas on Thanksgiving, and you got the Giants in between. If Washington can get 6-5 on Turkey Day against Dallas, that game's going to mean much, much more for the season and how it plays out.
I agree. I mean, yeah. I mean, it can play out both ways. Both ways for you guys. I feel like I said in the beginning, this is where some of the games where you like we should have never lost those type of games is now coming back to haunt you, because now this last stretch is very pivotal when it comes down to playoff positioning, but just moving forward and having that confidence next year, with that season record. Like what did you guys do on the back half? Can y'all continue that success going into next year, going into the off season? So, for both of these two teams, this gonna be a game. This might be a good game to actually tune in and actually watch.
I was gonna say, outside of the 4:00 games, this is probably one of the best ones. I mean, obviously Lions, Chargers, but outside of that, it's probably the best game to tune into for real.
Yeah, I agree. All right, you can skip over our game and you can go to Detroit and the Chargers.
All right, we got the Lions and the Chargers. First, real quick, we want to say we're wishing good health and luck to see Henry. He had a little thing going on with him. We praying for you, bro. Come back and get healthy for the show. We can do podcasts again. But we got the Lions heading to the Chargers. I do not like this game. I'm going with the Lions, but it's always the Jekyll and Hyde teams. I don't like the Colts for the Chargers, yo. I'm just gonna be completely honest. Every time they in a tight game, I just get extremely nervous. Like it's my team. He makes the dumbest decisions. Play calls be all over the place, and you got a legit top 10 quarterback. I'm going with Detroit. I don't trust the Chargers, yo.
I'm just going to Detroit just based off of that they got a stronger defense at this point. I like how their defense is. Yes, they had a couple of their mistakes, but the Chargers are looking very good. They're looking like a very competent all-around team. So the Chargers just have something that they gotta work on. I don't know what it is. You know, everybody's saying that their coach is gone after this season. We'll see. We'll see how that plays out. But yeah, I'm going Lions.
This feels like a game that the Lions, if they are a serious Super Bowl contender, should win and win handedly, right? Like this is one of those games where you've got a competitive team in the Chargers, but you've just been playing better than them, period. And so if they're truly a Super Bowl contender and want to be thought of as one, this is one game that you go out there and win. On the flip side of that, the Chargers are just such a weird team, right? Like this is a team that I think can play with anybody in the NFL, but can also lose to anybody in the NFL. So I think, and they don't really have a home field advantage to really speak of. You know, they're the second team in LA. Send them boys back to San Diego, please, where they're actually loved. But yeah, I just give me the Lions. I think that they're the better team right now. My only concern for the Lions is if they can't get home on Herbert and he has time, their secondary is not good enough to shut him down. And y'all saw what Keenan Allen started doing last week with some of those grabs. If he continues to stay healthy and they can turn the tide, they're going to be a scary team, but give me the Lions this week.
All right. Like I said, we can skip our game. We ain't got to talk. So we can really skip our game. We ain't got nothing to talk about because we'll be here all night. And X, I already know what I'm talking about. This is I'm just gonna say this. This is a must win for us. Like must win. Like we can't come out of Arizona with an L. We come out with Arizona with an L. Pack it up. We're done. Stick a fork in us. We're about to have bird. You know, Turkey Day is almost coming up, and we're gonna be on the menu at that point. You know, may the best bird win. I'm going with the Falcons, but yeah, I'm again. That's yeah.
I can't handle another loss. I can't do it.
I don't think
I can't do it. I can't do it, bro. Like they gotta win. Like I'm sorry. Like I know we talk about must wins and you gotta win every week and start a winning culture, like DT was saying about the Commanders. But bro, it's the 1-8 Cardinals. I don't care. Exactly. She said she shares my sentiments. She hears me screaming at the television every Sunday. Like I can't sit here and watch Kyler Murray come off his couch and beat us on Sunday. And if he does, bro, like I said, call the FedEx truck. Hell, he know the number. So I can't suffer another loss to a team.
Expect Arthur Blank to be there, and expect him to be on that sideline.
For sure, looking like the mob boss that he is, and he will be pondering and sitting on whether or not he needs to make that adjustment. Because as I said earlier in the episode, it's playoffs or bust for this team, and if we lose to the Cardinals, playoffs don't look like it's gonna happen.
Exactly. Must win. DT, go ahead.
Go ahead, DT, because you've been over there sitting with the mob boss hands for a minute now. Go ahead.
Excellent indeed. When I look at this matchup, I see a Falcons team with Taylor Heineke coming to the desert, playing the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray is returning, but there will definitely be rust on the brother. I feel like I love y'all defense. against the Cardinals. I got Arizona losing to the Falcons. I got y'all winning this week.
You know the sad part about that, DT? It wouldn't even be like, it's not a win that I feel like I can even enjoy. It's just gonna be relief. Like, we beat that team, we go into the bye week. It's like, we're not 4-6. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't even be like, oh yeah, we beat the Cardinals. Like, yeah, so it's 8 other teams. Like, the only team, you know what I'm saying? Like, the only thing I'm gonna say is if we beat the Cardinals, there's gonna be a couple Cowboys fans I'm gonna have to just call and be like, so why couldn't y'all beat this team? But other than that, like, that's it. Like, that's it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they gonna get talked about. I'm just gonna
There's a couple Cowboys fans that are gonna get a phone call like, y'all lost to these guys, these dudes. Come on now, like, all right.
I mean, to be fair, we almost lost to them too. I ain't gonna say that cow. They gonna fight. They gonna fight. Game.
But look, we don't need them to fight for their rights to party. Just lay down. What did they say? Just lay down. Stay down.
Down.
Oh man.
All right, so it's looking like the game is about to come on. Is there any last words? We're gonna start with you, X. It's your first time on Enter the Lab podcast. Nice having you up here, bro. We definitely gotta have you up here more. Like,
yeah, for sure. I appreciate y'all bringing me in. Like appreciate Eb, offering, sending the offer. Love talking football, like way too much. She'll tell you, but yeah, like, you know what I'm saying. Yeah, so I appreciate that. Love the podcast, man. And yeah, if y'all want to follow me anywhere, I had a pretty viral tweet this week. People not too fond of my Justin Fields take. Right now, I still got mentions I've been answering mentions for almost 72 hours, bro. It has been. I didn't think that saying Justin Fields could possibly be the quarterback of the Falcons next year was going to whip up this much of a firestorm already. But let's just say right now, Falcons Twitter not too happy with me at the moment. So yeah. Well, yeah, follow me at Xavier_Trish. Hey, to give you an idea, DT, 74,000 people have apparently seen that tweet in some way, shape, or form. So
I gotta see that tweet.
I'll throw it in the chat here before we get out of here. But yeah, man, if you guys want to talk to me, I'm open to talk to pretty much everybody on Twitter. Holla at your boy.
All right. You already know, DC. Another week down, another week to go. We coming up to the end. College football also. 2 more games after this week.
Yeah.
2 more games.
It goes by too quickly.
It does. It does. Shout out to them Georgia Bulldogs. Matter of fact, shout out to Nolan Smith for being the guest picker on College Game Day. College Game Day is coming to Athens. They are going to be in Athens for this Ole Miss versus Georgia game. This is a night game. This is a home game. This is the last home game of the season. I'm going. I officially got my seat, so I will be there. Yes, back to back, baby. Back to back. We trying to three-peat over here, okay? So yes, we got these last 2 games. We ain't even looking at Ohio State. We y'all need to focus on Michigan. Do they make it 3 in a row?
Are you done?
You got 2 Georgia. Look, you got 2 Falcon fans up here, and you got 2.
Hey, you got 2 Georgia fans out here. You know the vibes. Come on now. I actually found Eb on Georgia Twitter and didn't even know she was a Falcons fan. Like, it was just, I'm telling you. I'm sorry. We apologize in advance. Not really.
Yeah, not really.
With that being said, this is Enter the Lab podcast. We will see you guys next week for more breaking news. You guys can follow me at D Cleveland Jr. and at Darius Ricks. That is my podcast name, the Ins and Out the podcast. Also follow me on the Pro Sports Fan app. Me, Breeze, Deuce, and CeeLo. We are up there for Owning the Huddle podcast. We stream the pregame, live game reaction, and post game, and we do a show every Tuesday for live press conferences. You can also follow me. I know I got a lot of podcasts I do. Also follow me on FFSN. I cover Washington Commanders on that channel with Kayla, Command Time with Kayla and DT every week. So with that being said, this is Enter the Lab, and you guys have a great night.